Hidden Measure, Greatness Beyond the Score. This is a story about a retired woodshop instructor who volunteers at a struggling youth workshop and gives each teenager an unusual assignment: build something that serves another person. As the projects unfold, they begin to discover that their real worth was never measured by trophies, grades, or anyone else's expectations. When Mr. Rowan first walked into the Riverside Youth Workshop, he found broken stools, dull tools, and 6 teenagers who clearly did not want to be there. The program had been created for students who were failing classes, skipping school, or drifting toward trouble. The school counselor called it a second chance. The students called it punishment. Tariq had been suspended twice. Maya had stopped turning in assignments. Luis joked his way through everything so no one would notice how little he believed in himself. Jenna had excellent grades but was exhausted from trying to meet everyone's expectations. Ben avoided eye contact and rarely spoke at all. And Owen, the tallest of the group, had already decided nothing in life worked unless you could win at it. Mr. Rowan was retired now, with silver hair, patient hands, and a voice that never needed to rise. The first day, the students expected lectures about discipline and responsibility. Instead, he rolled a sheet of paper across the central table and said, "This term, no one will build a trophy shelf, a decorative birdhouse, or a project for a grade." Tariq smirked. "Then what are we even doing here?" Mr. Rowan looked at them one by one. "You are each going to build something that helps another person." Silence. Luis laughed. "What if I don't know anybody worth helping?" "Then that," said Mr. Rowan, "is part of the lesson." The assignment made everyone uncomfortable. They were used to being judged by numbers, performance, rankings, and behavior reports. Service sounded vague, unmeasurable, unsafe. Mr. Rowan handed each of them a notebook. "Before you design anything, find out what someone needs." "For a grade?" Owen asked. "No." "For what then?" "So you can stop confusing achievement with purpose." During the next week, the students reluctantly started asking questions. Maya discovered her grandmother struggled to stand while gardening and needed a simple kneeling bench with handles. Ben learned the school librarian wanted a rolling cart for returned books. Jenna met a single mother who needed a sturdy toy box for 2 small children. Luis found that the night custodian's lunch crate was falling apart and offered to build him a better one. Tariq visited the neighborhood animal shelter and saw food bowls sliding across the floor. He decided to make feeding stands. Owen resisted longest. He finally chose to build a small wheelchair ramp for a neighbor he barely knew. At first, they worked the old way, competing, comparing, hiding mistakes. When a cut went wrong, Tariq cursed and blamed the saw. When Jenna redid a measurement 3 times, she whispered, "If this isn't perfect, it won't matter." Mr. Rowan heard her. "Who told you that?" She stared at him. "No one." "That usually means many people." He moved through the workshop quietly, correcting technique but never using shame. When Luis rushed and split a board, Mr. Rowan simply said, "Try again." When Ben hesitated over every decision, he said, "Trust grows by being used." When Owen snapped, "I'm not good at this," Mr. Rowan answered, "That is a sentence you learned. It is not who you are." One afternoon, Tariq stayed late. "Why do you keep acting like we're capable?" he asked. Mr. Rowan set down a plane and smiled. "Because you are. You don't even know us. I know enough." "Enough for what?" "To recognize strength before you do." That irritated Tariq, but it also stayed with him. As the weeks passed, something changed in the room. The students stopped asking, "Is mine the best?" They began asking, "Will this actually help?" Maya sanded the handles on her grandmother's garden bench until they felt soft and strong. Luis rebuilt the lunch crate after realizing the custodian carried soup and needed a deeper compartment. Ben surprised everyone by designing clever wheels for the library cart so it would turn in narrow aisles. Owen rebuilt his ramp twice, furious the first time and focused the second. Mr. Rowan never praised them for being better than one another. He praised willingness, attention, care, purpose. One day the principal visited and glanced around the shop. "No competitions this year?" she asked. "No," said Mr. Rowan. "How will you measure progress?" He looked toward the students. "By whether they remember their worth has nothing to do with winning." The principal looked unconvinced, but the students heard him. At the final presentation, there were no medals, no ribbons, no scores. Instead, each person delivered the finished project to the one it was meant to serve. Maya's grandmother cried when she sat on the garden bench. The custodian ran his hand over the lunch crate and said, "No one's ever made something for me before." The librarian laughed with delight at Ben's cart and called him an inventor. Owen installed the ramp in silence. When the neighbor rolled over it easily and smiled, something in Owen's face softened for the first time all term. Later that evening, the 6 students sat in the quiet workshop. "It feels weird," Louise said. "What does?" asked Mr. Rowan. "There's no prize." "Mister," Rowan nodded. "And yet," Louise looked down, smiling, "and yet this feels bigger." Mr. Rowan leaned against the table. "The world teaches you to measure yourselves by outcomes, applause, rankings, and other people's expectations. But worth is not earned, it is remembered. Purpose matters more than the score." Ben, who almost never spoke, looked up. "Is that what greatness is?" Mr. Rowan's eyes warmed. "Yes." "Not being the best?" "No. What then?" He glanced around the room. "Letting what is strong and loving in you be used." Years later, the workshop door carried a simple wooden sign the students had made together. "Your worth is not on the scoreboard. Build something that serves." And everyone who entered felt in some quiet way that the sign was telling the truth, because the deepest measure had never been trophies, grades, or praise. It had always been the willingness to remember the strength already given by God and let it bless someone else. May we sing, rest, and dance our way home together.